Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to Nama Podcast, second edition. Today, my name is Zaid Al-Mahdali, the Partnership Executive here at Nama Foundation. And today, we're going to explore the topic that is a very age-old question on university. Whether university is made just as an ivory tower of theories, or is it a place where people prepare to become industry-ready graduates? So today, we're bringing to you from the up north of the east coast of Malaysia, a university that was set up by the Terengganu state government back in 1993. And today, we have the Rector with us, Prof. Insigne Dr. Hairul Azhar. Welcome, Prof.
Thank you.
Alhamdulillah,
Thanks for having me.
we're very happy to have you.
Thank you.
For our second podcast. And this topic that we just opened up just now, right, Prof, something I think is very much aligned with what TATI is doing,
Exactly.
which is something that is bridging that gap on ensuring that the graduates are employable, as well as bridging the gap in terms of TVET, right, Impact Hub, as well as in the East Coast. And I think, Prof, TATI is positioning itself very much in collaborating with the industry to ensure that. Maybe, Prof, you could share with us a bit what are the positioning that TATI is doing to ensure that this is possible.
Right. First of all, thank you, Zaid, for having me today. Essentially, what TATI is doing is to work together with the industry to ensure that our graduates are ready for the industry. So, if I can take that further, not just about working with the industry, but actually co-creating with the industry. So we have the industries on board when we design our curriculum, and sometimes even when we deliver the curriculum, we do invite industrial partners to deliver with our lecturers, our teachers, and so on. Yes.
Prof, this understanding of really co-creating with industry, I think, is very important, because sometimes I think there's a lot of times people say that universities does not give value added in a way for employability from the youth, some people say, right? But in the end, when we balance this, what the industry want with actually what universities are producing,
Right.
you can kind of ensure that they are employable, right?
Exactly.
But there is this question that some of the youth would wonder, that is university end up being just a training center to become corporate, in the youth they say corporate slaves, right? Or is it a place for them to really become critical thinkers?
Right. Yeah. I think it has to be balanced. I think, as you mentioned right from the beginning, we have to ensure that the students or the graduates are ready for the industry. And when I say they are ready for the industry, it's not just about their skills or the technical knowledge that they need to acquire before they can serve in the industry, but it's also the shall we say, the mindset, the soft skills, which entails to creativity, problem solving, being able to work in a team. So the entire university experience and journey is carved towards delivering such an experience, so that in that 3 years, the industry can expect the graduates ready to serve hand in hand with the industry.
Interesting, Prof, because I think in some countries, right, especially in Germany or countries that are very technical,
Yeah.
TVET is seen as something like a very sought after kind of direction or a path for them to take.
Exactly.
But in some developing nations, we see STEM as the direction that people want to go, right?
Yeah.
But in any nation, it's important to balance this STEM as well as TVET, right? How do we perceive, or how do we explain to people, or the Malaysian masyarakat, right, to see that this TVET is not like a plan B,
Yeah.
but rather it's a very great option for the kids or themselves.
I think that's really a stigma at the moment in our society, where I guess in schools they feel like those who are quote unquote dropouts, they would take the vocational pathway. But as you mentioned, in Germany or in Japan, we just came back from Japan about 2 months ago. We see institutions like what they call as COSEN. COSENs are taking in 1%, so top 1% of the school, high school students follow the COSEN pathway. And when they leave the schools, they are very much sought after by the industry. So the perception in developed countries like Japan and Germany is that this is the very much sought after pathway. So in Malaysia, I think it's been a stigma. It's something that I think the government has been working very hard to change that perception. And I think currently with, all the different institutions and, efforts being done by the state government, it is changing. It is something that we have to go down, brand it, and shout to the world and tell that, when students leave higher TVET institutions, there are many today in Malaysia, they actually land in very good jobs, very high paying, high return jobs.
Interesting. Yeah, I think as you yourself, Prof, you've been exploring many places, right? You went to Japan for corporations, and
Yeah.
we met, I think, 2 months ago in Indonesia as well, right?
Exactly.
And I think, Prof, there's also this question that people wonder as well in terms of TVET, right? Which is something very fast changing, I think.
Yes.
Like sometimes it could take 6 months for a new developed AI to come in,
Yeah.
and it could change exactly what the industry needs straight away, right?
Right.
How do we ensure, Prof, in a way that in our higher education institutions that the modules that take up years to be created, how is it really catered to these ever changing, very fast paced changes coming?
I think universities have limited period where they can train such students. I always look at it as two parts. One is the very fundamental aspect of their training and education. So the fundamentals are required. Right? You can then top it up with the latest technology and the latest techniques and approach to different things, from manufacturing to automation and so on and so forth. But then again, there's always a finite amount of time that you can be in the university to be trained. So I think the main thing that we need to train our students with is actually this ability to go for lifelong learning, that ability to explore new things, new knowledge on their own, or with the assistance of various schemes from the industry, their employer, to go for training and so on. So we want our students, when they leave the university, they have this mindset that I've got all this fundamental understanding of manufacturing, automation, chemical industry, and so on and so forth. But they also leave the university with this mindset that I cannot stay put. I need to grow. I need to continue to develop myself. Any opportunities to learn new technology, new programming language, new techniques, and so on and so forth, I have to grab and grow. So that I think is very important for them to stay, relevant.
I think, because I think being relevant is not just about this technical knowledge, but as well as that mindset, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think, Prof, before we move into this ethics or this what is needed for an employee, right? From the UC TATI perspective, what do you think is the most in-demand job, maybe that people can, what UC TATI offers that people can take up, and what is needed in the industry? Maybe the viewers are wondering, what do they want to do after they finish studying, right? Yeah.
I think today, green energy, technologies relating to green energy is very much, in the development. A lot of developments are in the solar, hydrogen, carbon capture, for example. And although these are new technologies emerging, the fundamentals are quite the same, very much in manufacturing, processing, mining, and so on and so forth. I didn't mention rare earth elements, for example. That's also another area. And I guess I could be biased. This is very much what's happening in Malaysia, and particularly the east coast of Malaysia. So these trainings are very much well mapped with what we train our students in manufacturing, automation, chemical processing. We have computer science that give them basics of AI as well. So these are the programs that when students come into UC TATI, once they graduate, they will be very much sought after by the industry.
For maybe we could say countries like Indonesia, Tanzania. Maybe we'd say Indonesia first lah.
Yeah.
For Indonesia, I don't want you to be biased, right? But I'm just gonna ask, if you're an Indonesian, for example, you're 18, 19, and you don't know what to do, you're kind of like a generalist, right?
Yeah.
You can go either way. What course would you recommend them? Like one course, if you could, that you could kind of ensure, say that if you take this course, by the time you graduate, you might get a job.
Right. Okay. If you ask me that question, I've I've always believed in, if you, as a student, you undergo a bachelor's degree program, it should be a program that is um, general enough, that provides you that versatility. You know, one program in mind is industrial automation program. So with such a program, you can land yourself in various industries, because automation is a skill and technology that is applied across the board. Yeah, whether it is oil and gas, whether it is green energy or green technology, or whether it is in manufacturing. So I would recommend somebody to consider a program that is uh, has a good balance between focus and general enough to be applied in various fields. Because today I might be talking about green technology. 10 years from now, it could be something else. But you need to stay relevant. Yeah? Of course, lifelong learning is good, but your basics must be there to be able to serve the industry in various industries.
I think as someone yourself, I think because you studied engineering, right, Prof?
Yes.
And then now you're managing a whole university for education and industry partnerships, right?
Yes.
I think, Prof, do you think there's importance in ensuring that the students themselves get the education that by the time they graduate, they don't just, of course, get employability, but they don't just end up becoming efficient workers, but to also be ethical leaders in a way.
Yeah.
What do you think is the importance of this, and how do you think students can?
I think it's always important to embed ethical considerations, not just as an employee, but as a human being, essentially. And I think ethics is very important. That has gone a long way. Societies after society has benefited. And as a Muslim, I think our ethics is very much embedded in the religion. And with that ethics, societies thrive, countries grow, families, live happily, and they are all taken care of well. So in the university, embedding such ethics is not just about just a subject that talks about ethics, but it's got to be the entire, 3 years, 4 years journey. So it has to be embedded in different forms, whether it is in their project assignments, all the way to student activities when they go out, serving communities, for example. So there must be opportunities for universities like UC TATI. We embed that training and understanding so that it goes deep into them and they uphold and really embrace the required ethics when they leave.
Definitely, Prof. I think like this is very important to ensure that like incorporating values like adab and ihsan, excellence, all this stuff, right, Prof?
Exactly.
I know, Prof, that I mean, just before you arrived just now, I was looking through your LinkedIn as well, right?
Oh,
And then
okay.
I saw that you have
Stalking me, eh?
stalking you on LinkedIn, and then I saw that your educational background goes very vast, and not just locally but internationally as well, right? How was your educational experiences studying overseas and locally both influence the way you are now?
Okay, I've always thought, whether you are studying engineering or physics or accounting, I think what you would study in Malaysia or for that matter any other country is still very fundamentally the same. But I think the experience of being abroad, the value that brought with me, at least that I can share, is the mixing and learning from different cultures, different ways of how people deal with issues, and I think one thing that I can share also is being independent. So being away from your family, so you try to be very resourceful, you try to be creative, and you got to be independent in how to really survive. So I think those experiences put together added a different and additional angle to my development.
And you were speaking about going overseas, the importance of it, how it influences students, right? And I think for some students, what better place to be studying in a university that's close to the beach, that is right in the east coast of Malaysia, where you have the best kind of beaches, right? Prof, the UC Tati students, of course, we know that they are quite known, right, in a way that is a place to be where students want to engage or enter the industry, in the TVET industry. Right now, what is the current focus that UC TATI is doing, aside from, of course, having industry partnerships, right? Is there elements of internalization, right, that you have in UC TATI?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I think that aspect of the education is very important. So students who come into UC Tati has this opportunity to spend one semester abroad. We've got partnerships at the moment with Japan. We've got partnerships with Indonesia. And recently I was abroad traveling in China and also Indonesia. So these are the two other countries that our students have the opportunity to spend at least one semester abroad on an exchange program. Some other countries we are also exploring is Germany. And I think I mentioned Germany and Japan because these are also two countries that really excel in high talent TVET program.
Prof, definitely, I think UC Tati having the partnerships not just locally, right? Also, like you mentioned, China, Indonesia, meaning that not just international students coming into UC Tati can benefit in terms of the Malaysian heritage or culture, right? But also local students can have the advantage of go abroad as well. And as you mentioned as well, your experiences studying overseas and how it has impacted you, it really shows the importance in all this, Prof. Alhamdulillah, Prof. I think it was very rapid fire in a way questions, but we got interesting insights from you. And before we end, Prof, maybe we could just take this opportunity to get some insights or advices from you for a youth, for example, in its time, just finish, whether it's O levels or it's their SPM, it doesn't matter. What advices do you have for them in choosing their career path, whether it's STEM or TVET in general?
I think one advice, if I can share, would be to students to think big, and really explore the possibilities, right? Whatever your results are like, whatever resources that you have, always explore what is the bigger picture and the big dreams that you can aim for. If you aim for the moon and the sky, you probably, if you aim for the stars, you'll land somewhere on the moon. But if you aim somewhere low, you probably just go 5 feet above the ground. So think big. What they can do to think big is also to network, learn from friends, learn from seniors, learn from cousins who've made it, who've been out there. Learn from them, get inspired by them, and then work your way backwards. Begin with the end in mind, where you want to be 10 years, 15 years from now. Then just move back and then see there are many pathways available, regardless of whatever results or you are in at the moment with your O levels, A levels, SPM, and so forth. All it takes is your will. Willpower is very important. I think to drive that willpower, you have to have your end in mind, the big dream that you have. Go for it, and I think you'll be able to achieve it.
Inshallah, Prof. I agree. I think in some corporate lingo they say North Star, right? They say like having a very clear North Star really helps. And I think what Prof is saying is that having this North Star is not just having what job you want to have or want to end up at, but actually aiming that the importance of ensuring that you want to be an ethical leader, ensuring that you want to be a good person, a good insan, as well as to ensure that in anything you do, you try to be excellence in it, right? And inshallah, to aim big. And thank you so much, Prof, for sharing all these stories and wisdom from us. And we thank you very much for making time again.
Thank you.
And hopefully looking forward for more partnerships in the future.
Inshallah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prof. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.